After a disastrous campaign that just narrowly avoided handing Labor a humiliating defeat, questions are being asked about how the party can do a better job next time. Most of those discussions are happening behind closed doors, but even the relatively minor details of a report into Labor's campaign put into the public domain today are causing ructions. Here's our political correspondent, Tom Eagleton.
Labor's three wise men were appointed to find out what went so wrong in the last election. Former Premiers Bob Carr and Steve Bracks, along with Senator John Faulkner, finished their report for Labor's National Executive last month. Today, part of it was released, but only the part that deals with Labor's rank and file. The main recommendation, giving non-party members a say in pre-selecting candidates.
We know this has been a feature of the political fabric in the US and Canada and some other countries, but we believe it's time to trial this in certain areas around the country.
The formula wouldn't be exactly the same as the American system. Non-members would get 20% of the vote, ALP-affiliated unions another 20%, and 60% to local ALP members. But the idea already has some in the party wondering if that's what's going to help Labor revive its slumping membership.
I would probably describe primaries as the most corrupt of the selections, because it simply becomes about who's the richest person that's able to raise the most money to run that campaign. It's not a system that I find attractive at all. I actually think it will completely devalue the role of the rank and file member of the Labor Party and will actually lead to an Americanisation of politics that I wouldn't support.
But Steve Bracks has another way of describing his idea.
Democratisation of the party, having the National Executive, a portion of it, elected by the whole of the party membership, having primaries so that Labor supporters in seats can decide who the candidate will be.
Unions are lukewarm about the idea, which could potentially dilute their sometimes controversial influence in pre-selection races.
We'll be looking very closely at that process and having a discussion with our affiliates about the process recommended in the review. But as long as the best candidate is put forward for the party, a candidate that will represent the interests of its branch and of its local constituents, then that would be okay by the union movement.
For all the toing and froing about the role of the Labor Party's rank and file, the problems in Labor's leadership and its senior campaign team in particular are the main concern of the review. National Secretary Carl Bitar is, according to media reports, on the verge of being dumped as recriminations begin following Labor's near loss. Those aspects of the review weren't released today.
The other matters are really a matter for the National Executive.
We're very pleased that the review focuses on the future, on the way forward for the party, and is not about naming, blaming or shaming anyone.
Today's report also sidesteps another issue that's come under scrutiny since Kevin Rudd won government, giving the Prime Minister the power to choose ministers.
The leader should pick their front bench team, and I will continue to do that.
But that's not the end of the discussion, say the report's authors.
The report contains a discussion and argument about that important issue, and as we speak, our colleagues in the National Executive are looking at how we will progress those recommendations.
The National Executive meets to discuss both the secret and publicly released elements of the report in April. Tom Eagleton, Lateline.